Hi, I'm Bobby Russell, and I'm a Microsoft Technical Trainer. I'm here to walk you through the SC-200 Microsoft Security Operations Analyst course. Welcome to Learning Path 3, which is Mitigating Threats using Microsoft Purview. In this module, we'll discuss Microsoft Purview compliance solutions. We'll also look at investigating and remediating compromised entities identified by Microsoft Purview data loss prevention policies. We'll also look at investigating and remediating insider risk threats identified by those same Purview policies. And we'll also look at investigating threats using content search in Microsoft Purview. We'll look at investigating threats using Microsoft Purview Audit in Standard, as well as Microsoft Purview Audit in Premium. So let's jump into our first module, Microsoft Purview Compliance Solutions. Microsoft Purview is a unified data governance solution that helps organizations manage and protect their data across hybrid and multi-cloud environments. It enables businesses to discover, classify, and map data assets, providing a comprehensive view of data lineage and usage. With built-in cataloging, Purview allows users to search and understand data assets more easily, improving data discoverability and collaboration. It also supports automated data classification, using machine learning to identify sensitive information that personal data or financial records may contain. Purview integrates with Microsoft 365, Azure, and many other third-party services, ensuring consistent data governance policies across all your platforms. It provides robust compliance and risk management tools, helping organizations meet regulatory requirements such as things like GDPR, HIPAA, or CCPA, to name a few. An organization, handles more digital data now than ever. It's critical to have, the right tools in place to manage risk, protect sensitive information, and support legal and security efforts that you may have. Microsoft offers a suite of solutions like e-discovery auditing, insider risk management, and DLP, or data loss prevention, that help teams stay secure, compliant, and prepared for whatever comes their way. Think of e-discovery as the process of finding and sharing electronic information that could be important in a legal case. It's all about tracking down digital evidence when it's needed. Microsoft Purview offers built-in tools that help organizations stay on top of security events. Whether it's forensic investigations or an internal review, these solutions make it easier to gather the right data and respond quickly. This tool helps spot potential insider threats, whether someone is acting maliciously or just made a mistake. It looks at different signals to catch things like data leaks, IP theft, or other security-related issues before they become serious problems. Organizations deal with a lot of sensitive information, like financial records, health data, social security numbers, and so forth. Data loss prevention, or DLP, helps make sure this kind of information doesn't get shared with the wrong people, whether by accident or on purpose. Let's jump into our second module, which is investigating and remediating compromised entities identified by Microsoft Purview DLP, or data loss prevention policies. In this module, we'll describe data loss prevention components in Microsoft Purview. We'll look at investigating DLP alerts in Microsoft Purview Compliance Center. And finally, we'll look at investigating DLP alerts in Microsoft Defender for Cloud Apps. Let's talk about how data loss prevention, or DLP, helps protect your sensitive information. With a solid DLP policy in place, you can automatically identify and monitor sensitive data, things like financial records or personal information, and prevent it from being accidentally shared. What's great is it works right inside the tools that you already have, like Excel, Word, and PowerPoint, without disrupting your typical workflow. Plus, we get alerts and reports that show us exactly where our policies are being triggered, so we can stay ahead of any potential issues. It's all powered by components like sensitivity labels, DLP policies, and even Defender for Cloud Apps to give us a full picture of overall data security. This image is a snapshot of the Microsoft Purview portal, specifically showing the DLP alert section. At the top, there are a couple notifications. One's a reminder that some devices haven't been onboarded yet, and the other suggests managing DLP alerts through the Microsoft Defender portal for a more integrated experience. Below that, there's a table listing several alerts triggered by your DLP policies. These alerts are tied to emails and documents that may contain some sensitive information. For example, there are alerts for emails with subjects like file, fake, and credit card numbers, as well as documents like resumes stored in a OneDrive. Each alert entry includes key details like the severity level, ranging from low, medium, and so forth. There's a status, either they're marked active or not. The time they were detected, which are going to have timestamps on it, and an insider risk severity rating, which is marked as high in this instance here, and others are at none. It's essentially a dashboard that helps security teams quickly spot and respond to potential data leaks or policy violations. Now, here you see an image from the Microsoft Defender portal. It's focused on the alerts section. On the left, there's a familiar navigation window with options like Home, Incidents and Alerts, Hunting, and others. Basically, the main tools security teams use to monitor and respond to threats. In the center of the screen, you see the alerts dashboard. Right at the top, there's some options to export data, filter alerts by time, like narrowing it down to the last week or so. It's a clean, organized interface designed to help security teams quickly zero in on alerts that matter most to you. So now let's jump into our third module, which is investigating and remediating insider risk threats identified by Microsoft Purview policies. So in this module, we'll look at how insider risk management in Microsoft Purview can help prevent, detect, as well as contain internal risks in your organization. We'll look at the types of built-in and predefined policy templates. We'll list the prerequisites that need to be met before creating any type of insider risk policies. And finally, we'll explain the types of actions you can take on an insider risk management case. This image highlights the wide range of insider risks that Microsoft Purview is designed to help organizations detect and manage. It shows that insider threats go far beyond just leaking sensitive data. They can include things like intellectual property theft, fraud, insider training, and even workspace harassment or even violence. Each of these risks can have serious consequences for your organization, from financial loss to reputational damage or even legal penalties. Microsoft Purview plays a key role in identifying these risks early by using advanced analytics, machine learning, and policy-based monitoring. To give you an example, if someone tries to send a confidential file outside the organization or they try to access sensitive data that they normally wouldn't, Purview can flag that behavior. It helps organizations stay compliant with regulations by monitoring for violations and providing very detailed audit trails. The timeline format makes it easy to see how these risks can occur at different stages of an employee's interaction with data and system. Whether it's a policy violation or a conflict of interest, Purview will provide the tools to investigate and respond effectively. This kind of visibility is essential in today's data-driven workplaces where insider threats are often subtle and complex. So now, here we see that this walks us through the typical workflow for managing an insider risk case using Microsoft Purview. It starts with setting up a policy, which like laying the ground rules for what's acceptable and what's not. Once these policies are in place, the system can generate alerts when something suspicious happens, like someone accessing sensitive files they normally wouldn't. From there, the case moves into the triage phase, where alerts are prioritized and assessed to figure out which ones need any type of immediate attention. Then comes the investigation stage, where teams dig deeper into the details to understand what really is happening. And then finally, there's the action phase, where decisions are made, whether it's just a warning or further monitoring, or do we need to take more serious steps? What's really important here is the collaboration piece at the bottom. It shows that handling insider risks isn't just an IT job, it involves things like compliance, HR, legal, and security all working together. Microsoft Purview helps organizations manage insider risk through customized policies. On the left side, you've got a list of policy templates. These are like ready-made starting points for some of your common risk scenarios. For example, there's one for departing employee data theft, which is a big concern when someone's leaving the organization. There are also templates for data leaks, security policy violations, and even more specific ones like health record misuse and risky browser usage. Policy settings let you fine-tune how these templates work. You can adjust these things like privacy and indicators, which control what kind of user activity is monitored and how it's flagged. There's also a setting for policy timeframes, so you can define how far back a system should look when it's evaluating behavior. And then there's intelligent detections, which uses machine learning to spot patterns and things that might indicate risky behavior. Follow the link below for a guided demonstration on insider risk management. Let's jump into our fourth module, which is discovering risk with content search in Microsoft Purview. In this module, we'll look at things like planning for a search, viewing and exporting search results, and configuring search permissions and filtering. Microsoft Purview supports organizations with e-discovery solutions, basically tools that help you find, manage, and export data for legal or compliance reasons. It starts with content search, which is the most basic option that you have. This lets you search across mailboxes and sites using keywords and filters, and then allows you to export those results. It's a simple but powerful tool that you can use for quick data discovery. Then there's eDiscovery Standard, which adds more structure. You can create cases, apply legal holds to, preserve data if you need to, and manage everything in one place. It's ideal when you need to keep things organized for things like ongoing investigations and legal matters. And then finally, we have eDiscovery Premium, which takes it to a whole new level. It includes advanced features like custodian management, legal hold notifications, analytics, and even practice coding models to help you sort through large volumes of data a lot more efficiently. Content search in Microsoft Purview is a super handy tool when you need to quickly find specific data across your entire organization. You can search through emails and documents, team chats, and even more things, all from one place. It supports keyword queries and filters, so you can really narrow down your results to exactly what you're looking for. It's also role-based, meaning only authorized users can perform searches, which helps keep things secure. Whether you're doing a quick check or you're supporting a compliance investigation, content search gives you a fast, reliable way to locate any information that you need. This is the new search setup screen in Microsoft Purview, and it's all about choosing where you want to search for data. Right now, we're looking in the locations, which is the second step in the process after naming your search. You can see that Exchange mailboxes are turned on, meaning the search will include emails, Microsoft 365 groups, and even Yammer messages. On the other hand, SharePoint sites and Exchange public folders are currently turned off, so those won't be included unless you toggle them on. This gives you a lot of flexibility, and you can target exactly what you want to look for, whether it's email, documents, or other collaboration spaces. There's also an option to add app content for on-premise users, which is helpful if your organization is running a hybrid type environment. The interface is clean and guided with steps listed on the left, so there's always ways to know where you are in the process. Overall, this screen is a great example of how Microsoft Purview helps you narrow down your search scope to just the data sources that matter for you investigating any compliance tasks that you may have. So now this shows the edit search screen in the Microsoft Purview, and it's a great example of how flexible and powerful the platform can be when you're trying to find specific data. Here we're looking at the KQL editor, which is perfect for your users who want to build more advanced, precise queries. Instead of using just basic filters, you can write detailed conditions like searching for emails sent by a specific person or to a specific recipient. You can also add property operators like equals, contains, or not equals to really fine-tune your search. On the left, you'll notice the step-by-step layout that we have: the name and description, locations, conditions, and review. So it's easy to follow the process. It's part of what makes Microsoft Purview such a strong tool for compliance and legal teams. Whether you're responding to a legal request or conducting an internal investigation, this kind of targeted search saves you time and ensures accuracy. When you run a content search, you can preview a sample of the search results to determine if the search is returning the expected results. Some things you want to keep in mind: a maximum of 1,000 randomly selected items are available to preview. A maximum of 100 items from a single content location, like a mailbox or a SharePoint site, can be previewed. The number of content locations with items that match the search query, keep that in mind. Also, the identity of the content locations that have the most matching items. Now, if your organization uses keyword lists when it creates or edits a search query, it can get enhanced statistics that show how many items match each keyword or your keyword phrases. So after your organization successfully runs a content search, it can export the search results to a local computer. When you export email results, they're downloaded to your computer as a PST file. When you export content from SharePoint and OneDrive for business sites, copies of the native Office documents are exported. Some prerequisites for exporting the search results include things like the user exporting the search results must be assigned the export management role. Microsoft Edge must be used to run the eDiscovery export tool, i.e. Internet Explorer 11 is no longer supported. Organizations should ensure they can connect to the endpoint in Azure, which temporarily stores the exported data before it's downloaded to your local computer. Let's talk about search permission filtering in Microsoft 365, which is a really important feature for organizations that need to control who can search for what. What you're seeing here is a breakdown of how this works, especially in the context of eDiscovery. First, you can configure filtered search permissions so that an eDiscovery manager can only search a specific subset of mailboxes or sites. This is great for maintaining data privacy and ensuring that people only access what they're authorized to see. Second, these filters can be based on specific search criteria, so it's not just about timing access by your user, but also about the type of content that they're allowed to use. To search this up, you create a search filter using supported recipient filters. These filters define exactly which mailboxes or sites are included in the search scope. And then finally, if you want to dive deeper into how to configure some of these things, Microsoft provides a list of PowerShell commandlets in the SC-200 Learn module that walks you through the setup and management process. This is a great way to enforce least privilege access and ensure your eDiscovery process stays compliant and secure. In this module, we examined the following items related to content search. We looked at content search as being one of the key features in Microsoft 365 Compliance Center that's designed for times when the full flag search case management of eDiscovery isn't needed. We looked at content search when it's ideal for quick searches across content in Microsoft 365. We also looked at content search when it's useful when you must perform large searches across all your mailboxes and maybe your SharePoint sites that exceed the limitations of just the eDiscovery search. And we looked at filter search permissions, which can be configured to allow an eDiscovery manager to search only a subset of the mailboxes and sites in a Microsoft 365 organization. Let's jump into our fifth module, investigating threats using Microsoft Purview Audit. In this module, we're going to discuss the differences between Microsoft Purview Audit Standard and Audit Premium. We'll talk about how to search for audit activities using the Microsoft Purview Audit. We'll look at how to implement audit log searching using Audit Solution. We'll look at how you can use audit log searching to investigate common support issues reported to Microsoft Support. We'll look at how to create audit log retention policies. And finally, we'll perform forensic investigations of compromised user accounts. Let's take a quick look at how to implement Microsoft Purview Audit Standard. The good news is that for most Microsoft 365 organizations, Audit Standard is enabled by default, so there's not a lot of heavy lifting to get started. There are just a few steps to follow before you can begin searching the audit log. First, you'll want to set up the Audit Standard to ensure everything is properly configured. Next, verify your subscription to make sure you have the right licensing in place. Then, you'll need to assign the appropriate permissions to the users who will be performing the audit log searches. Once you've got that done, you're ready to search the audit log. And every time a user or admin performs an audit activity, a record is created and stored. These records are retained for 180 days, giving you a solid window for investigation or compliance reviews. Here, we're looking at the audit section of Microsoft Defender, specifically under Reports area for Contoso Electronics. This is where you can perform detailed audit log searches to track user and admin activity across your M365 environment. At the top, you'll notice three tabs. Those three are going to be New Search, Classical Search, and Audit Retention Policies. Right now, we're in the New Search view. One of the first things to point out is the blue bar that says Start Recording User and Admin Activity. This is critical. Once auditing is enabled, you can build a search using a variety of filters like date and time ranges, keywords, users, files, or SharePoint sites, and even more specific workloads if you want. At the bottom, you'll see where your search results will appear, including details like job status, progress, total results, and who performed the search. This tool is essential for compliance investigations and security monitoring, giving you full visibility into what's happening across your entire environment. Microsoft 365 supports an audit log so that organizations can search for it, activities performed in different Microsoft 365 services. The following steps are required to search the audit log within the Microsoft Compliance Portal. 1. Run an audit log search. When doing so, configure the following search criteria. You need to define the start date and the end date, the type of activity that you're looking for, users to display in your search result, any file or folder names containing activities with a specified keyword, or URL for a file or a folder. You can view the search results. The maximum you'll get is 50,000 events, and that'll be displayed in increments of 150 events. Export the search results to a file. The results can be exported to a CSV file on a local computer. Before diving into the audit log analysis, there are a few key steps to follow to make sure the data is usable and insightful. In step 1, we're going to export the audit log search results. The first step is to search the audit log and then export the results in a CSV file to your local machine. In step 2, you're going to format the exported audit logs using the Power Query Editor. The next step is where the JSON transform feature in the Power Query Editor in Excel comes into play. This feature will split each property in the JSON object in the audit data column into its own column. You can use PowerShell if you want to search and export audit log records. You can use the Search Unified Audit Log commandlet in Exchange Online PowerShell to export the results of an audit log. Search it in a CSV file if you need to. Follow the same procedures described in step 2 in your student training module if you're following along here and trying to do this here. This highlights how organizations can use the audit log search tool in Microsoft Purview to investigate a variety of common support issues. It's a powerful resource for IT and security teams when you're trying to get to the bottom of a user activity or a potential security concern. For example, you can use it to find the IP address used to access a compromised account or see who set up an email forwarding rule, which is often a red flag in phishing and data exfiltration scenarios. You can also check if a user deleted emails, created inbox rules, or even signed in from an outside organization. It's also useful for tracking mailbox activity by users without E5 licenses or by delegates who have access to someone else's mailbox. Each of these scenarios is clearly listed here for visual markers, making it easy to provide a reference. Microsoft Purview Audit Premium is built for organizations that need deeper visibility for things like forensic or compliance investigations. One of the biggest benefits is extended audit log retention. You get 1 year by default, and you can go all the way up to 10 years in retention if needed. It also gives you access to critical audit events that help you understand the full scope of the potential compromise. Plus, faster access to data through the Office 365 Management Activity API. To use Audit Premium, your organization needs to be on a Microsoft 365, either E5, A5, or G5 license plan. And there's an important thing that you want to keep in mind. Users need to be assigned an Audit Premium license for their activity to be captured at this level of detail. Without that license, those advanced logs won't be generated. Audit log retention policies enable organizations to specify how long they want to retain audit logs. Audit logs can be retained for up to 10 years. With Microsoft Purview Audit Premium, it provides a default retention for your overall organizational policy, and you can change that. Retention policies can be created based on the following criteria. We can look at all activities in one or more 365 services. We can look for specific activities performed by all users or by specific users. We have a priority level that specifies which policy takes precedence when multiple policies exist in your organization. To create retention policies, a user must be assigned the Organization Configuration role in Microsoft Purview Compliance Portal. A compromised account means an attacker has gained access and is operating as if they're a legitimate user. So it's critical to act quickly and thoroughly. M365 helps you with this by auditing access to mail data through the Mail Items Accessed action. This feature tracks when and how mail items are accessed, giving investigators insight into what data that may have been exposed. When conducting an investigation, there are 3 key steps you want to keep in mind. Number 1, identify which mailboxes were compromised. Number 2, determine the time frame during which the attacker had access. And number 3, use PowerShell commandlets like search unified audit log or search mailbox audit log to pull the relevant audit records. So now, in this module, we looked at the differences between Microsoft Purview Audit Standard and Audit Premium. We looked at how to search for audit activities using Microsoft Purview Audit. We looked at how to implement audit log searching. We looked at how to use audit log searching to investigate common support issues reported by Microsoft Support. We looked at Microsoft Purview Audit Premium and how it builds on the capabilities of Audit Standard. We looked at how to create audit log retention policies. And finally, we talked about how to perform forensic investigations of compromised user accounts. So, in this learning path, we covered Microsoft Purview, specifically how it provides compliance solutions to mitigate threats. We talked about content search and how it's a key feature in Microsoft 365 Compliance Center for quick searches and across your content. We looked at audit solutions. Microsoft Purview provides 2 audit solutions, Standard and Premium. We dove into Audit Standard, and we talked about how it's enabled by default and some of the capabilities that it provides. And we looked at Audit Premium, which builds on Audit Standard by providing advanced auditing functionality. This concludes our learning path number 3. There are many ways to continue your learning journey. We encourage you to watch other videos in this course or search out your next favorite topic on Microsoft Learn at aka.ms/learn. Thank you.